Eagles, your daily Philadelphia Eagles podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Eagles fans? Louie DiBiase here of Locked On Eagles and Fox 43 with another exclusive YouTube video for YouTube, our Locked On Eagles channel. And for Fox 43, the Eagles take on the New York Jets this Sunday. The Eagles return to the Meadowlands for the second week in a row, looking to bounce back from that 13-7 loss last week to the Giants. At 5-7, the Eagles still kind of control their destiny for an NFC playoff spot, just a half game back of the Washington football team, who they do play twice this year. They're looking for that bounce back win against the Jets this week, a team they have beaten 13 times in franchise history. And guess how many times they've played the Jets in franchise history? 13. So they're looking to keep that franchise undefeated record going here, continued against the Jets on Sunday. And it's an interesting battle, not just for, playoff implications, but there's an interesting tie here between the Eagles and the New York Jets starting quarterback in Zach Wilson. Right now, the Eagles are trying to figure out if Jalen Hurts can be the long-term answer, or if they need to draft a guy in 2022, or if they need to, trade for a Russell Wilson or a Deshaun Watson. But back in the offseason, although they did ride with Jalen Hurts into the 2021 season as QB1, and they did pass on taking a prospect like Justin Fields in the first round or pursuing somebody like Trey Lance, who went to the San Francisco 49ers, although they did choose Jalen Hurts and the field over those 2021 quarterback prospects, they were very interested in BYU and now New York Jets quarterback, the second overall pick in 2021, Zach Wilson, who will get the start on Sunday against the Birds. And it was interesting to hear today Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni talk about Wilson and talk about the Eagles' pre-draft interest in Wilson. So there was a report back in March, right after the Eagles had traded down from the 6th overall pick. They traded down with the Miami Dolphins, and they collected a first-round pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. When they made that trade, only a few minutes later, Ian Rappaport of NFL Network had tweeted out that the Eagles, before trading down, had looked into trading up to the number 3 overall pick, maybe even the 2nd overall pick, and it was because they had interest in Zach Wilson. But they only had interest in Zach Wilson. They did not feel like Trey Lance was worth trading up for, and they did not feel that Justin Fields was worth not only trading up for, but not even taking him at that 10th overall pick they had in 2021, instead electing to take Devontae Smith. But they did really like Zach Wilson. And Sirianni today, he didn't officially confirm they tried to trade up for Wilson, but he did talk about how much the Eagles did like him. And Sirianni said today they did a lot of work on Zach Wilson in the pre-draft process. They did a lot of study on him, a lot of tape. They did speak with him in a pre-draft meeting. They did their due diligence, and they did try to get up, if you ask me. And they loved the way, specifically, like he was talking about specifics today, which makes me think they did do a lot of work, and they definitely did look into moving up. Like he even mentioned, without even being asked, like how much he liked Zach Wilson's throwing ability to, mechanic wise, be able to throw at so many different arm levels. And he also talked about how athletic Zach Wilson was coming out of BYU. And those specifics to me point to a legitimate interest. I'm not sure if they made the Jets any offer. I'm not sure if they ever made an offer to try to get to the 3rd overall pick, but I really do think Zach Wilson lines up with what the Eagles like, right? They want that top tier upside when it comes to arm talent, and they really want their quarterback to be mobile. And so Wilson did check the box of what the Eagles want in a franchise quarterback. And although there was a second report back in March where Rap Sheet kind of backtracked that first initial report that the Eagles wanted to move up for Wilson, he kind of, after they traded down with Miami, clarified and said, well, the Eagles did have interest in Wilson, but they, considering their situation, never really looked into moving up, and they do want to ride with Jalen Hurts long-term, which was kind of the opposite to what his initial report was. Like he said, I want to clarify, but he didn't really clarify. He kind of just flipped the story completely in the opposite direction. And to me, that second report reeks of Howie Roseman kind of taking back that first report and kind of denying that the Eagles did have interest to save face with Jalen Hurts, who was going to be their quarterback now once they realized that they could not get Zach Wilson. It's kind of like in 2015 when Chip Kelly tried to sell the farm for Marcus Mariota and the Tennessee Titans would not budge with that second overall pick. So after the draft, Chip Kelly said he would never mortgage the future to get Mariota and that Sam Bradford was the quarterback moving forward. Because at that point, like after you realize you can't get that guy, it could only do harm, no good, to confirm a report that you tried to get a different quarterback and that you don't believe in the guy you currently have. That's what it really told me. And it's a really interesting what if the Jets wanted to keep Sam Darnold and the Eagles recognize Wilson as the guy, Zach Wilson could be the Eagles quarterback right now. And some people are probably saying, thank God that they avoided that disaster. He's had a really bad start to his career. Some of the worst interceptions I've seen, even for a rookie. Zach Wilson this year, I think he plays way too much on instinct and feel, and I feel like he's really struggled with vision and anticipation, and that's something the Eagles can take advantage of Sunday for sure. This definitely is a mismatch in favor of the Eagles defense. You also see Wilson a lot this year relying on his pure arm talent and power, and he's inconsistent with, his footwork, his body work, setting passes up easier for himself, right? The hips, the feet, everything moving in one fluid motion to help out that unworldly arm talent. So I think there's a lot of room for development with Zach Wilson, and he has a long way to go from being a finished product for sure. And a lot of people think it might be that he's a bust, and it was definitely something the Eagles avoided in a good way. But also at the same time, I still have a optimistic projection of Wilson's career. I still think he's going to be a really good quarterback. And you guys know I'm an upside guy to a fault, so I like to bank on that high ceiling. And I kind of like to not ignore the low floor, but I like to prioritize the high ceiling. And I feel like there are some obstacles for Zach Wilson this year that can be overcome down the road. Like I think the play calling has not done him any favors. I think protection has not done Zach Wilson any favors. And I would still bank on the arm talent and the upside. Like I haven't seen a prospect coming out of college. I have not seen the smooth arm mechanics of Zach Wilson coming out of the draft, just so naturally gifted in that area. It just all comes out so beautifully. Outside of Kyler Murray in 2019, I haven't seen those kind of mechanics in a long time, even for the top prospects like Zach Wilson, from just straight talking about, arm throwing motion and just the way the ball flies out of his hand. I haven't seen that outside of Kyler Murray in a long time. And already this year, I did some tape study over the past week, seeing how the Eagles can exploit Zach Wilson. Although it's been bad and there's a lot of bad tape, he can make throws like outside of structure. The Eagles better make sure they get Wilson down and they finish plays early, because outside of structure, the way he can throw the ball at so many different angles with that arm, the ball comes out so effortlessly. He has such power and touch, and he has that athleticism that he can make you pay outside of structure. He's already made a ton of wow throws this year, throws only a few guys can make, and off platform too. And that, Zach Wilson, this is something from the past that the Eagles have to move on from and find a new quarterback, whether that's Jalen Hurts to be the guy or a 2022 prospect or a veteran, and Zach Wilson's a New York Jet. Their interest in Wilson is telling of what they want in a quarterback, and it's something they do need, and it's something I miss. I miss having a guy that has that kind of ability, and it's going to be interesting to see him against Jalen Hurts on Sunday and see how either really far apart these guys are or pretty close. It's going to be a good game. I think the Eagles should definitely be favored, and I don't think right now they should be regretting not being able to have the opportunity to get Zach Wilson. But it is really interesting to look back at that and see their interest and see how that could, hint at things in the future. And just the what ifs, you guys know I love it. So Nick Sirianni talked about it today about their interest in Wilson, and I thought the specifics really showed that they did have legitimate interest. It'll be interesting to see which Wilson the Eagles see on Sunday. Is it the one that tore up the Tennessee Titans earlier in the season, the guy that stepped up late in their win against the Falcons, or I should say the Houston Texans last week? Or is it going to be the guy that's imploded against teams like the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos? This has been Locked On Eagles, Fox 43 and YouTube. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. As always, thank you for watching, and let's go Birds.